Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Invader video. Today we'll be talking about how to invade black on the bottom. At first glance, I'm pretty sure some of you guys will be like, wow, I've seen this in my games, right? I've seen this position in my game. That's very common. This is a thing that happens all the time in our games. And today we'll be looking at how to invade. We'll be mostly talking about white's invasion and M3. This is a good invasion point for this moyo, but we mostly gonna focus on the tactics today. So first thing first, if black defends like at K3, it's not a great idea because now white can just attach on top, and now white is the one attacking instead of invading. So K3 is okay, but it's too passive. I really don't recommend you to play moves like that. A better move is for black to attach on top, right? This is more aggressive and more, I guess, more proactive. So now white has to watch for two things, right? So white has to watch for the ladders on both sides. If the ladder on one side is not working, then white cannot play this wedge here. So in other words, the ladder has to work on both sides for white to be able to wedge. Well, why is that? If the ladder does not work, just like in our game, it does not work, black will capture the stone at M3. When white Ataris, black takes, Atari, connect, and white tries the ladder, well, guess what? This is not working. So black can run out, white is cut into pieces, and then black has a lot of supporting stone to fight this. So this is not a pleasant game for white. On the other hand, let's assume there's a stone here for black on this side. Black can also connect at K3. When you play this one, black can now run. Since there's the ladder works for black, black can actually drag the stone out and fight. And this is also unpleasant for white. So for you to play the wedge, you have to make sure the ladders on both sides work for you. If the ladders on both sides work for you, black pretty much has to Atari on top. Because otherwise, black will get ladder on one side. Well, by the way, black has a way to prevent the laddering, that is for black to push at M3. This is also an interesting variation that I don't recommend for black players because white has a very simple way to deal with this. So white can Atari at K3, black is forced to extend, and now white just simply extend out at L6. Not trying to fight black here, but rather just simply, extend. So there's a ladder going on here. If black does not play here, white can ladder black in this direction. So black's best response is to Atari at J3. Now white can turn at M6. So there's a ladder here at N4. Black will fix the ladder with a jump at O5. White follows up with the attach. Black harness and try to push out. But there is some sort of problems in black's formation. So white can pretty much wedge and cut black off. And then what's worse for black is before that, white can actually run first. Now forcing black to deal with this and then wedge connect. When black tries to save the group, white can jump down at P2, and this is a sente because if you don't play, there is a problem here. So if black fixed the problem, white will start the attack right now. White has a solid corner and white has the initiative to attack this heavy group. So this is a very nice leading game for white. So this variation is not very good for black. Even if black was able to secure everything on the bottom, but the loss on top is too much. So on the other hand, what about the k5, right? Is that a okay move? Well, this would be actually a mistake. This is not even a variation. So actually white does not need to Atari here. White can go ahead and Atari at n4. When black runs, white can also run. Black Ataris, white extends. And now we have a Miai situation. One, black is trying to kill the stone. Second, white is also trying to ladder 2 stones. And black cannot defend both at the same time. And this is a collapsing situation for black. So we pretty much covered the exhaustive variation for this Atari at L3. So in case ladder works for you on both sides, this wedge is very nice. So black pretty much has to Atari on top if the ladder works for white on both sides. And then the game likely goes like this. And now as we can see, white is able to live here. And also there's some weaknesses on the outside for black. So this is not a pleasant situation for black. It might still be playable, but white is able to destroy the territory, but also leaving weaknesses. So our invasion has been very successful if it is played like this. So that's about the wedge. That's not hard to understand. Make sure the ladder works for you on both sides before you actually go ahead and wedge. So your question might be, well, what if there's no the ladder does not work like the game we have right now, right? Because of the E7 stone, we cannot wedge. But don't worry, we still have a very nice move that is to extend at L3. Against this, if black blocks at k3, trying to secure the territory here, white can push an Atari and connect. So black pretty much has to fix this, right? So this is a very serious cutting point. That black's best move is to play k6. And white follows up with O4 to kill black's O3 stone. So this is already visually very pleasant for white. Not only white was able to invade, but also gain a lot of territory for himself. And then, pretty much in the corner, there's a way to kill black if black tries to play R3. I want to present this life and death situation mostly, to help you guys, be very comfortable at invading here, right? We need to cover sort of the follow-ups. When black pulls the stone, so let's try it again. So black goes in, we defend at R4. When black pulls the stone back, now we have an excellent move that is to descend at S4. If black defends the leak here, white has a Tsuji, that is to play P2. If you play this one, this is not going to work. If black connects, white can pull the stone back, and then black is going to die inside here. And if black connects, we can obviously turn at S3. This is also not going to live. So black is also going to die in here. So just remember that you cannot easily let black live here. After you turn at O4. This pretty much kills the corner. So that's something that you need to keep in mind. So this would be a very nice outcome. White is able to gain a huge corner, also limit black's territory to just this. Very, very nice variation for white. So black's correct move is not to passively defend, rather it is to connect at L4. But things are still difficult for black. White can push at k3. It's very important for you to play the correct move, that is to push at a k3. Against this, black has to follow up with j3, and then white hanes at j2. And this is the point where if your opponent has not watched my video today, he will very, very easily fall very behind. And it's not just a little bit behind, but very behind. So that's why I'm presenting this invasion to you guys. So now if black just extend, we can follow up with a crawl, and then we can extend here, and then we have a nice Tetsuji at p3. Here black cannot extend because white can cut the top off, and then black is dying here, and then white has everything in the corner, which means black has to connect, and white will connect everything underneath. And now visually we can see how many points we have here. And this is a very, very pleasant and tremendous leading game for white moving on. And I think all my viewers would love to be in this position as white. And actually, it seemed that black did not play any bad moves, right? We just extended because we want to prevent this Atari. And then all these moves are kind of forced because at this point, what can you do, right? Apart from blocking here, you have to block here. And then this one, okay, it's forced again. And then we reach this position, and white has all the territory. So actually, black played a mistake without realizing it. The correct defense is for black to prevent all that sequence by playing n3. White will now Atari and then play the tiger's mouth. And then after this exchange, black comes back to fix the g5. If black tries to guard this, white can come out at g5. And now realize that all the black's weaknesses over here are going to be a problem that white can exploit. So black has to play g5, right, in order to remain very strong on top. And now white can Atari the stone at n2. And most likely your opponent is going to turn at o2, but this is not accurate. But if he plays like that, likely the game will go like he goes into the corner, destroy your corner, and then we can play a two-space extension. And now our invasion is very successful. We lived here, we lived here, we lived here. And black's influence is very hard to manage. So this is a slightly better game for white if your opponent plays like that. A better defense for black is when white Ataris, black actually goes for the ko. And white takes, black goes for a co-threat, takes back. White goes for a co-threat. You can go for this co-threat at g4. Well, this is looking at Hane and exploiting the weakness. So black defends at f4. We take back. And then black goes for another co-threat. There's no problem. Takes back. Another co-threat. Takes back. And now black pretty much has to go for co-threats outside. Because keep playing here is losing a lot of points for black. If you can keep going with this kind of moves, but white's corner is gonna get bigger in the process. And obviously white's gonna not gonna die here. So if black goes for a co-threat that you can neglect, you can just take it back, and then what you can do is things like this, right? You can kick here and make sure everything in here is your territory. All right, maybe a safer way is to just play this one. So white gains everything in here, and then black will start building in the center. That would be a more rational way for both players to keep going. But once again, I mean, how many people actually know the follow-ups, right? So very, very easy for your opponent to make a mistake in the process. And the cost for that mistake is huge, right? Let's say he plays something like this. Immediately, this is very, very likely what's going to happen in your game, right? If your opponent does not know what's going on. So, which is why this is an excellent invasion at m3. It gives your opponent a lot of challenges, and it's very easy for you to basically gain an advantage in the early game. And this position happens all the time, and I'm pretty sure you have seen that in your game if you have played enough games. So let's just quickly recap the correct variation, right? So we covered a lot of the bad variations, but let's just sort of refresh our memory here. Always remember, as black, you have to defend at n3 and make a tiger's mouth. And then black will first play out this and then go for this ko here. And then we pretty much have to play a ko. And white can use the ko threats like these to make himself alive, right? So this is the correct variation for both players, but very easy for your opponent to make a mistake in the process. And then, so you can hopefully gain an advantage in the early game. So that's pretty much the content for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel for more invasions like this. And thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you guys next time.